I think one of the biggest things, accountability. That's a huge thing. Every day I'm on a Zoom with a handful of professionals, uh, not in my marketplace, but and it doesn't matter if they are or not. I'm on a Zoom every day with that accountability group, but you have to be cognizant of who you're putting yourself around and the positive mindsets and all of that play into those Zoom meetings. If I don't show up,
hmm
they're questioning where I'm at.
Hi, I'm Noel with today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Kelly Johnson from Indianapolis. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, how are you, Noll?
I am good. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Well, you're very welcome. We're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started with even the market. What's going on in your area?
Yeah, Kelly Johnson in Indianapolis, Indiana, serving the about a 45 minute radius of downtown Indianapolis. Been in the business for 16 years. Been professionally coached by the Mike Ferry organization for 12 of that 16. I've got an Air Force military background and average somewhere between 75 and 100 deals per year for the last 5 years. And
Great.
yeah, just excited to share with you guys.
So, if you've been in the business 16 years and you started in the last 5 years, the 75 to 100 deals, what changed for you?
Ah,
Start doing differently.
I will say that there was probably, and I'm even in a stagnant point right now, uh, just in the sense of transactions, because I know I'm very comfortable in that 75 to 100 transaction space. It comes very, I won't say very easy, but a lot easier than it did even 10 years ago. And I'd say the first couple of years in coaching, I didn't really take it too terribly serious. Year 3 to probably 6 or 7 with the organization. I started ramping things up and got to about that 70 mark. And over the last 5 years, have just averaged that 75 to 100. But even at this point, getting up and above that is, putting the resources in place, the systems in place to continue the lifestyle that I have, but to be able
Mhm.
to serve more people at the same time is always the objective and goal, right?
Absolutely. So I can understand that. Like you said, the 75 to 100. Well, I don't know those numbers. I don't do those numbers. I wish I did. That's fabulous.
Sure.
I need to take everyone's advice that I interview.
No, that's good.
Walk us through your daily schedule.
Yeah, it's a. I always say the real estate business at the level doing the amount of transactions that I have the good fortune of doing or more is a very boring day to day, if you will. And I always say that this business is easy. It's just not simple, right? And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, my schedule typically starts at 4:45 in the morning. Um, I've been led to believe that if we're going to make a lot of money, if we're going to do a lot of transactions, we're going to need our health, right?
Mhm.
And if we're going to make a lot of money and do a lot of transactions, we're going to want to have fun after we do that.
Of
So
course.
that's going to take our health also, which I take that very seriously. Actually, my coach and mentor in the physical world, because I go to the gym usually at the gym by 5:30. But Mike, he's a 63-year-old. I call him a young man, and pretty much sets the standard for the entire gym. So exciting to be in that circle. But that's usually I wrap that up. I'm in the gym by 5:45. I'll leave there by 7. I have a breakfast spot that I frequent every
Mhm.
morning. Get a cup of coffee, shake some hands. Kind of that's
Yeah.
what I love about my morning routine is by the time that I get on the phones at 7:45 for my role play and 8 o'clock for setting appointments and whatnot. By that time, I feel like I'm usually already
Absolutely.
well ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Don't have sleepy hair. Don't not
Your
tired.
voice is all
Um,
warmed up and
yeah, yeah. I had my first role play at 7:45 I've got a couple other role play partners that I participate with that are on the West Coast that I do. I do take a break at either 9:30 or 10:30 just to
Mhm.
role play with them. But typically from 8 to noon minimum, I'm doing nothing but dialing on the phones, and
Who you
that's
calling?
the first
Expire.
expireds in the morning for sale by owners. Do my PC COI calls. I do participate with probates and estates.
Mhm.
I've developed a little niche in my market with divorce attorneys, which that started out with one attorney and is escalated to six at this point. So, and I do depositions for them, case trials, all that stuff, just
Mhm.
to be a witness on the stand for them. And then obviously that comes gets me in a position to work with those sellers in those situations. Lead follow up, if there's any time after that, like today, I don't have any appointments on my schedule. Had one rescheduled for this afternoon, so I I work with like any of my buyers agents. I have two buyers agents
Uh-huh.
that I refer business out to that are not personally on my team. I'm a very hybrid, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I will send them leads and whatnot. They handle those. I don't show properties anymore. I've finally graduated that, and that just really started this year. And that's sometimes hard to let go of.
Yeah.
We become addicted to the way that we make money and
Mhm.
how, and that's uh, one of a quote of Aaron Novello, a very close mentor friend of mine. Um, but so once I'm through so today, for example, I will make 50 conversations happen. And that's
Okay.
where typically what I call my minimum wage,
Mhm.
24 conversations and one set appointment per day. But typically, if I'm not like today at noon, if I'm not, uh, if I don't have appointments in the afternoon, I will get back on and do just listed, just sold. So I'll talk to my buyer's agents and find neighborhoods that they're
Mhm.
trying to locate their buyers into. And I'll call those neighborhoods, obviously searching for more listings, but the needle in the haystack method of connecting a buyer with an off market seller tends to be pretty lucrative also. So,
Okay. Okay. So, Aaron Novello, he's great. I had him on here probably a month or two ago.
oh,
Yeah. So
we need to stop right now then. There's nothing else to be said.
so now you know you're in good company.
Holy cow. Now the bar just got raised quite a bit.
Yeah. No, he's wonderful, like you said. But what I wanted to ask you about so you don't do buyer side anymore whatsoever. So you refer everything out, but you're not on a team, like you said. Um, but what happens if you're selling a property and they want to buy a property that's like $2 million? Are you going to refer that out too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's the discipline of it. And you have to have that mindset going
Mm-hmm.
into it because um, the process, as we know it, typically if they're a $2 million buyer, yeah, that sounds super attractive. But the amount of time that takes away is
Yeah.
is is where the as this will the right here the light bulb is came on for me, and that's your most productive time in this business, which is something that hindsight's always 2020. We can always look back and beat ourselves up and say, why didn't you do this, or why did Aaron it go so much further, so much quicker. We
Mhm.
all have a story to
Yeah.
tell, and they um, for the longest time, I come from a humble beginning and grew up in a trailer park. Mom did what she could to make ends meet and all that stuff. So I've been very self motivated. And when I compare myself, which is not good to do, right?
No. No.
Especially in a sales business. When I, but when I do, and I'm in proximity to people like Aaron, or I'm in proximity to people like Angel, I question myself because I I want to understand and know better as to why I'm
Mhm.
not taking an opportunity and just running with it the way that they
Mhm.
they have.
Yeah.
And I think that's again the story that number one, the story that we're telling ourselves and the story that we're believing, right? And
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of sales.
Mm-hmm.
You're only restricted by the mindset that you hold. And I would say probably over the last 5 years, proximity to my now new fiance. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, she's definitely leveled me up over the last few years, and we've grown together. I anticipate she'll probably be in the business with me here in the next year or two. But then relationships like Aaron, the proximity to your circle, 100%. If anything, if anybody gets anything off of this podcast with me, it's with us today. It's knowing that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, you are so right.
And that's where, again, hindsight's always 2020. 5 years ago, and I'm not going to go into depth with it or whatever, but they're, looking back on it, I was not the guy that I wanted to be 5 years ago, which that was holding me back. The people that I was associating with, the circle that I was in, it was a good time, but it wasn't healthy. And it cost me a couple relationships and whatnot. But again, it's knowing and understanding that,
Mhm.
taking responsibility for it,
Yeah.
and just moving on.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Because we all have them. We all have them.
Mike Ferry says it all the time. The windshield and the rear view mirror are in proximity as to the way you should use them.
Absolutely.
The windshield's huge. The rear view mirror, take it down, take it off.
Yeah.
You're looking at it,
Ah, I love this.
and I share that. I don't talk about it much, but
Yeah.
I share that because that's where growth comes from, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the biggest things that my fiance has helped me with, is helping me get into those uncomfortable relationships on a positive note, not a negative.
Mhm. So you've pretty much figured out the mindset piece of it. Doesn't mean every day is flawless, as we all know. Um, Other than everything that you did say about windshield and rear view mirror and company that you keep, what else can you tell other agents that may be struggling a little bit, like maybe some daily activities to help keep them focused on a healthy mindset while prospecting throughout the day?
I think one of the biggest things, accountability. That's a huge thing. Every day, I'm on a Zoom with a handful of professionals, uh, not in my marketplace, but and it doesn't matter if they are or not. But some different marketplaces, Louisville, Norm O'Neill, that I'm on a Zoom every day with that accountability group, which I think is we're and I'll refer to Mike a lot because that's the mentorship that I've had over the years. But um, we you have to be cognizant of who you're putting yourself around, and the positive mindsets and all of that play into those Zoom meetings. If I don't show up,
Mhm.
they're questioning where I'm at.
Where are you?
Yeah, and then that's and from another source of accountability, I like something that puts me to the fire, because as subcontractors we can hide in this business very easy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
super easy, right? But like my fiance, she holds checks for me,
Okay.
and don't get me wrong, I love her, going and buying all the fine clothing and everything that she wants to. But again, if I have her catch one of those checks, that's because I've not done my job, right? And she keeps me accountable there. But I also have
If you're not meeting and you don't meet your goals, she gets to go cash it and go shopping.
100%. There's 3 checks, if I'm not mistaken, in our bedroom right now that are hanging by our closet door every day. She asks me,
Oh my
"Did
goodness.
you get your contacts in?" And I used to. I don't want to lie, so it's just do my
No.
job, right?
Yeah.
Just do my job, and that's where, even like with accountability with Norm, he's held checks in the past, and I always say that it's irrelevant the size of the check if you know you're going to do the work. You
Yeah.
can write $1,000 checks. You can write $100,000 check. As long as you know you're going to do the work, what else is to worry about? If you
Mm.
know that you're not going to do the work, then you're probably a little timid.
You're like, "Can I make it a penny?"
Right, right.
Because I'm not gonna do any work this month, and I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills. Yeah, right?
Yeah. No, and I've been so there's an agent in San Diego, Carlos Gutierrez, which is a dear friend of mine. He he's held checks for me in the past, and I have photos of checks that he's not only cashed, but
Oh.
the most, in my opinion, I'll say this on open. I hope he sees this. The most unattractive shoes I've ever seen. There was nothing worse than like I remember vividly him cashing a check, and I had not seen his text yet, but I got an alert from my bank. I
Mhm.
was like, "What the heck? Like, why did $1,000 come out of my account?"
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah, yeah. And you do that once or
You
twice,
mean business, you mean business.
yeah. And I called him and I said, "It's fair. I know why you cashed it." He's like, "Yeah, you didn't contact me yesterday." So it's just doing what you say you're going to do. You're not going to lose money. But if you don't, having folks like him, like he didn't ask me, he held me to the fire.
Mhm.
I didn't do what I say I was going to do, and he cashed check. Now you can ask the question, how many checks has he cashed?
Alright, how many? Yeah, 1. Is that the only check ever out of all the other people that held checks for you?
Nope. I've, um, you know,
But
I'd
it's the
say
last one. The last one, right?
hopefully, and
Yeah.
that, but again, that's why I've been led to believe setting that accountability does nothing but helps me in my business, right?
Mm, I
So,
love it. Okay, so you've already offered so many powerful statements for everybody watching, but of course, I'm going to hit you with one more thing. If you just had one piece of advice you could give to a newer agent, what would it be?
uh, it's the easiest one that I recommend all the time. I will say that only one person and all the people that I've referred to in doing this is get a coach.
I knew
That's
it.
it.
Ding, 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 ding. I knew you'd
I
say
mean,
that. Yeah.
if you look at any I give, and I don't care. I'm not promoting Mike
Yeah.
Fair. I've
Yeah.
said it a lot on this call already. There's his son's in the business. Jeff Glover up in Michigan. Aaron Novello
Yep.
is another great resource and whatnot. Which I'm not even sure he's really doing coaching anymore. But the point is, all the best always have a coach.
Absolutely. So pick who fits your personality and what you're going for and
That's it.
do it.
I just heard a podcast with Tom Brady on it.
Yeah.
I was coming back from the islands from our recent trip, and he mentioned on there, this is one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Mhm.
Whatever. He has a coach in business now. He was
Wow.
talking about his relationship with this coach,
Mhm.
and he's a good night. The guy doesn't have to work
Mhm.
anymore, right? But he still has a standard, and
Yeah, he's addicted to the success. Yeah, so he's gotta
addicted to
keep
the
going.
success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, in
That's
my
okay.
opinion,
That's great. We need a coach.
the coach is the cheat code.
Yep.
It's not gonna be easy. They're not gonna tell you what you want to hear. They're gonna tell you what you need to hear. And if you align yourself with the right coach, I mean, set any goal that you want to, and it's able to be achieved.
I love it. This was fabulous. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on today.
You betcha. I'm
How
glad
can
to.
we, send well, not buyer referrals, but
Oh, yeah, and please, they can still send by referrals.
yes, if somebody wants
There's
to reach out to you for any more information, how can we do that?
Yeah, I'll give you my direct email. I'll give you my cell phone. My direct cell phone is 317-908-9614. And if email is better, it's a long one, but Kelly at kellysindyhomes.com. KELLY at KELLYS Indy, INDY, homes, HOMES.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You betcha. Thanks for having me on, Noel.